As a Mariners fan myself, I've been pretty excited with the developments over the last couple weeks, even the last month or so, I'd say. Um, I am gonna admit I don't watch baseball too closely, but I follow along, and even as a casual Mariners fan, I had kind of given up hope. I had assumed that last season of making the playoffs for the first time in 21 years or whatever it was, I assumed that was all a fluke. I assumed that we were doomed to be the same mediocre team that we've been for the last about 20 years or so. That is turning around. In the last little bit, Seattle has had a 7 game win streak, an 8 game win streak, multiple stretches where they're barely losing, and most notably of all, and what we're going to touch on in this segment, is Seattle star on a 12-year contract. Julio Rodriguez has had broken the MLB record for most hits in 4 games. He has hit 17 balls in the last 4 games, which is insane. And it's led to one of my favorite graphics of all time, which is that Julio Rodriguez is the same amount of hits as the entire New York Yankees team in the last 4 games. He has 4 more wins than they do, 1 more run than they do, and 5 more stolen bases than they do, which is 5-0 for Julio. Versus, again, let me make sure everybody understands this, the entire New York Yankees team. Simon, what do you think about all of this?
It's pretty interesting, huh? I mean, it is pretty cool to see. That is a nuts stat. Like the fact that because obviously we can go even more into that 4 game stretch. He started off going 4 for 6 against the Kansas City Royals, already a pretty crazy stat line. Followed it up with a 5 for 5 again, I believe, against the 5 for 5. I said that right, against the Kansas City Royals, I believe again. Then 4 for 5 against Houston, and then 4 for 6, which is absolutely nuts. That is a ridiculous run to go on. And obviously it helps his whole team has been playing pretty damn incredible like Seattle has been doing. It is pretty cool to see a Rodriguez finally actually work out in Seattle. And I think, I don't know, it is kind of cool to see. Obviously you mentioned you guys have been mediocre for the last little while. It is cool seeing that you guys do a little bit better. Hopefully you guys get crapped on by the Jays later in the season, but I don't know. It's cool. It's a cool stat. Like the whole thing with their whole recent run has been very interesting. Everybody loves seeing the Astros getting stomped. You guys managed to beat them a couple times. The whole thing's pretty nice to see.
Yeah, it is. I love that we are the fan favorite right now. I'm hoping that we're able to win the AL West, pull it away from the Astros, which wouldn't be like. I remember doing a podcast around the MLB trade deadline, and I don't even know if we even got around to ever talking about it, but we were talking about it a little bit before the podcast. And a lot of the deals, all of the deals that the Mariners made were selling. A huge indication that the front office believed that this was not the time. They're selling off major pieces.
Yeah.
They sold off Paul Sewald, who's been their closer for a very long time, a very good one at that. And normally when that happens, when you sell off a bunch of those pieces, your team gets worse. But they've managed to get better. After the trade deadline, they've just gone on a tear, which I think is so interesting, and it kind of speaks to how streaky baseball is. I mean, the Reds had a similar thing with Ellie De La Cruz coming into the lineup.
You want to talk about streaky? We can even go back to Snyder on the Blue Jays going off for like 2 games or 3 games straight. Whatever it was, his run was pretty fucking stupid. Like that, we're seeing a lot of that this season in baseball, where just not necessarily, I wouldn't call them stars, or just absolutely doing insane star-worthy things. Obviously, we saw Domingo Germain's no hitter earlier this season. It's another one where he's not necessarily perfect game. Sorry, like his perfect game where that's not something you would have ever expected a pitcher. Not saying that he's a bad pitcher by any means, but he is no all-star pitcher. Like strangely, well, I guess not even strangely, this is a fairly common thing in baseball. We're just seeing guys who aren't necessarily stars just do incredible things, and it's cool to see.
Yeah, it really is. And I think that, like, again, I do want to emphasize, like, just how huge this streak is. It's not just like the same kind of streak that we've been seeing throughout the season, at least for Julio. It's a 98-year-old record held by Milt Stock, which is the oldest, like, 100-year-old white man name of all time.
Can you say it again? I think I missed it a little bit.
Milt Stock. Milt Stock.
Wow. What a name.
What a name. He had 16 hits in 4 games in 1925 for the Brooklyn Robins, a team that hasn't existed for a very long time.
Yeah. This is a complete tangent, but I do want to say this a little bit. As somebody who has done a lot of PA announcing in the last little bit, I can say that, like, whenever I choose to have a kid, I will be naming them a very cool name that's fun to announce over a microphone. That is very important to me. And I just want to say that Milt Stock does not qualify.
No.
that is not it. whoever, no offense to Milt Stock. I hope I am not, but goddamn.
Okay, can I go? Can I go off on a completely unrelated tangent?
Yeah.
I looked up the Brooklyn Robins just because I was curious. The Brooklyn Robins are the modern LA Dodgers. And now, if you look back through the name history of the LA Dodgers, this is insane. Let's play Guess What Name Comes Next. They start off as the Brooklyn Grays in 1883. Then, get your guesses in your head, they become the Brooklyn Atlantics. Okay, nothing too crazy. Then they decide that was a terrible name, and then they go back to the Brooklyn Grays for 3 years. And then, get your guesses in your head, you'll never guess what it is. They become the Brooklyn Bridegrooms. I don't understand why. I don't understand.
What does that even mean?
Like, isn't a bridegroom like the man in a wedding? Yeah, a man on his wedding day or just before and after the event. Oh man, that's a great name for a baseball team.
Well, I was gonna say, like, a bride. It's a bride, like the woman, like, and a groom. That's what I was thinking in my head. I was like, what the hell? Why do you combine that?
So I think that's what a lot of people might have been thinking, because bridegrooms only lasted 2 years, and then they heard people like Simon say that's too confusing, so they just went with the Brooklyn Grooms for 4 years, and then they said, you know what? We're not falling to pressure. We're turning our name back to the Brooklyn Bridegrooms for another 2 years.
Oh, hell yeah.
And now
yeah.
And now they say, you know what? This whole bridegrooms thing has been cool. We've had a version of it for 10 years, but we want to go in a completely different direction with a word that I don't even think exists. The Brooklyn Superbas? What is a Superba? Super B-A-S. What is a Superba?
Superbas.
Superbas.
Oh, you know what? Maybe they, like, tried to, like, be, like, hip and cool and, like, shorten baseball. You know, like, super... You know what I mean? Wouldn't that be... I don't know.
I don't know. The only thing that I'm getting when I'm looking up Superbas is getting Super Bass by Nicki Minaj. So I don't really know what that's supposed to say.
You know what? Actually, they knew. Yeah, no. Actually, it was, like, named after Nicki Minaj, despite being probably, like, however many years previous. However many decades.
I think that might be it. But then they start getting into, like... Okay, now after the Superboss thing, which lasted 11 years, this was no, like,
Understandable.
sideshow.
It is a 10 out of 10 name.
Then they became they finally start to become the team they know them today, the Brooklyn Trolley Dodgers. That's where the name Dodgers comes from. It's people dodging trolleys. That's where the name comes from. And then they finally simplified it to Brooklyn Dodgers. And then they decided to become the Robins for 20 years. And then they went back to the Dodgers. I love that. I love that so much. That is the most chaotic name history I've ever seen in any team ever.
The only reason I know that is because of an SNL skit where they wake up Captain America from like his however many years slumber, and he wakes up and goes, "So how are my Brooklyn Dodgers doing?" They go like, "Oh, they're in LA now," and then he goes back to sleep. At least I think that's what it was. It's been a while, but it's a good skit. But,
How are my
anyway.
Brooklyn bridegrooms doing?
Yeah, how are my Brooklyn bridegrooms doing? Exactly. They should have stuck with that. Imagine hearing a call. That's old. That's another. That goes back to what I was saying about like the PA announcing, like the bridegrooms have won the World Series. Oh, that would be legendary.
And that's a terrifying logo too. Oh my god.
Am I gonna have to put something on the screen?
Yes, I'll send that to you right now. That's awful. So they do have like just the word mark logo that literally just says Brooklyn Bridegrooms. That's not too bad. But then their actual logo that I think they would have on their hats, like according to this picture, is just like someone dressed up like a bride, but it's a child. It's a literal child. This child is like 2 years old. I don't know why you would put this on your helmet.
Got the
I'm pretty sure I have this right. I'm pretty confident.
What the hell is that?
Yeah. I don't know where that came from. I don't know if they actually wore that on their hats or if this is a real thing. But it's something.
Hopefully I remember to put that on the screen. If I don't, go look it up because it's a logo, all right.
Yep.
It is a logo. That was a worthy tangent though. I'm happy we discovered the bridegrooms. If I ever do which I probably won't, but if I ever do MLB like fantasy, like all that stuff, I will be naming my team the Bridegrooms.
I call the Super Boss.
The Super Boss. God, I really hope that like some owner was just like, guys, like they were all like just drunk at a bar and they were all just like, they were like throwing names out there. It's just like, guys, listen. Like baseball, too long. Base, too long. Take it all out. Take the E out. Take the E out. Super Boz. We're going big. And that was it for 10 years. Nobody questioned it. That's what I like to picture with that. Like 10 out of 10 name. 10 out of 10. They should have kept it. The LA Super Boz, that's way better than the Dodgers.
Oh, apparently they were also named at one point in 1877 before the team was like really a thing. They were named the Brooklyn Hartfords, which is a team in a different city in a different state named after a different city in a different state.
I was about to say.
It would be like calling it the Calgary, like the Calgary Vancouvers, like
Calgary Saskatoons.
Yeah. Oh, apparently they were also called the Brooklyn Ward's Wonders at some point.
Okay.
I don't know who.
Why did they change it? Why did they change these?
I don't
Who's
understand.
Ward and why is he a wonder?
I don't know. I don't know.
These are the questions that I need answered.
Oh,
Remember when we were talking about the Mariners?
Yeah.
I don't. This is more interesting.
I might have an answer for you. Apparently, these names were not official. They were used by fans and newspaper sports writers to describe the team. Not in any official capacity. The team's legal name was the Brooklyn Baseball Club. I think you say no, but I think that's even funnier. That
no, I just messed up my camera because I hit
writers,
my desk in frustration. I'm so mad.
That's
upsetting. So upsetting.
That is upsetting.
Like, I feel like I just got told Santa isn't real.
Okay, but that's so confusing though because I looked up the Brooklyn Super Boss and I swear that I saw like baseball cards with it on that. So like, I don't understand. there is Brooklyn Super Boss.
God.
Does it
breaking my heart. I wanted to see them march onto the field wearing goddamn bride dresses and ties. Like, that would have been so legendary. Like, imagine it. That would have been the best baseball team in the world.
Yeah, I don't know. Oh, this is so confusing.
That's
There's
so
another,
disappointing.
There's another. I'm finding a baseball card. It says, like, it's on the cards. Is this not the official name? The Brooklyn Superbas. It says the Brooklyn Superbas, but then at the bottom it says it's signed by someone from the Brooklyn Nationals. Is the Brooklyn Nationals a different team? Why is he signing the card? What's the? I don't understand.
This is so.
Oh,
this
and
is such a rabbit hole.
Apparently, it got so confusing with all of the names they had for this team that there is conflict now between baseball historians and to what to call the teams from the past. So the 1916 Brooklyn team won the league, and most of them called the team the Robins, but the newspapers, all of the newspapers called them the Superbas.
Oh my god. That just goes back to the Superbas is such a dumb name as well. That just goes back to the call it must have been. The Superbas have won the World Series! Like, it's that's so much better. Like, God, go back to that. That's better.
Petition to have a bunch of the MLB team names. We'll just auction off all of the names that the Dodgers have used throughout their history, and then that can be the names that the Seattle Superbas. To loop it back to the topic that we were supposed to be talking about, the Seattle Superbas.
Oh, that'd make them so much better to cheer for.
Would you become a Seattle fan if we were the Superbas?
I just might. That might be enough for me to jump ship. The Superbas is such a good name. Oh.
Put that on a jersey.
Superbas bride. Oh my god, just take the city name out. Just let's just combine the whole thing. The Superbas bridegrooms? What even is that? That's even better. Where are they from? No one knows. They're the traveling wonder.
They're Ward's Wonders.
Yeah, there you go. There you go. Oh, what a team. God, that is so legendary. I'm so disappointed in that entire franchise that they got rid of any of those names. Those are so good.
Yeah. That's oh man. That is upset. I need to I feel like I could do research on this for days. The nickname section on the Dodgers is it's pretty chunky, but it's not I feel like you could write essays on this.
Yeah, I believe it.
And that isn't even the fact that that this sentence exists, which is about their name now, which is the Dodgers, obviously. But saying the name Trolley Dodgers implies the dangers posed by trolley cars in Brooklyn generally, which in 1892 began the switch from horsepower to electrical power, which made them much faster and hence were regarded as more dangerous. So a modern baseball team is named after the fact that in the late 1800s, people were scared of trolleys because they moved faster than horses. So they thought they would have to dodge them. And this is the most sane name that this team has had.
You know what? I agree with you, Caleb. Dodgers need to change your name.
Bring back the Superbas. Bring back the Superbas.
It needs to happen. It's just meant to be. I mean, have you seen all these logos? You could go back to any of these and I would all the Dodgers fans would probably be so mad and I would love every second of it. It would be so great. Do you see this baby logo on this bridegroom's hat? Are you telling me that's not incredible?
At the very least, pull out the baby logo again on a retro jersey. Come on, we need the throwback.
We do need the throwback. It needs to happen.